Audible for all? So if it is audible, just give a comment yes. We will start our section. Okay. Okay. Just wait for 30. It's done. Okay. So shall we start our session? I hope my voice is audible for all. Let I check with my mobile. Hello, sir. Hello, all. Hello. Had a dinner. So yes, of course, Hari Hari. Yeah. What about you? Okay, so it's everything's fine, right? So voice is also clear. Okay, so yesterday what we have covered about the methods, right? So what is method? So methods is nothing but a default functions that is created by Java, that is already created and it is produced in that objects. Okay, so we can use the method to do something, right? Today what we're going to do, we're going to see about the loops and we're going to see about the conditional statements. And after finishing that, what we're going to see, we're going to see about the DOM operation, right? So DOM actually what we need to see. Okay, so why I'm saying like that, I think that, wait a minute, I just share my screen. Okay, so the purpose of learning JavaScript is to implement that, right? So learning a programming language is easy, right? So learning the syntax of a programming language is easy, but implementing in that phase, like using JavaScript in web apps, JavaScript in backend, using JavaScript in Web3, like that is difficult, right? So that is what we have. So right now we are go through with the JavaScript for front end, right? So we need to give on the DOM. So the DOM is that what it's going to help. It's also an API. What it is, by using the DOM operation only, it is going to help. Okay, so the JavaScript to implement and run in the browser. Okay, so and we're going to do that. Okay, so let's see, go with an order. Just go for my JS bin. Okay, not JS bin. And if you have any doubts arise in between the class, just give an okay. So I will be watching this studio frequently. Okay, so if you give your doubts, I will respond to you. Okay, I just remove the HTML and just go for the console. Okay, so this is our basic setup. Okay, right now what we're going to see, we're just going to see about the conditional statement. Okay, what is mean by conditional statement? A statement that is want to run based on the conditions. Okay, so actually what is a statement? Okay, a statement is nothing but an block of code that would end and produce a value. Okay, so the statement is in the expressions also, we can say, but expression and statements are two different concepts. Expression is nothing but that have a, and like for example, I say let x is equal to 5. This is an expression. Statement is nothing but go some process, and after completing the process, it will give some answers. That is called, like we can say a function is a statement like that. Okay, so right now what I going to do, we just going to say about the conditional statements. The most familiar conditional statement is if. So what is mean by if and what is mean by conditional statement? So based on the condition, particular code has to run. For example, I have a variable like let age equal to 18, something like this. Okay, so what is mean by this? I have a variable and I have the value that age is equal to 18. Okay, so based on this variable value only, I want to run a code. Okay, so how that can that is possible? Okay, so in that cases you can use this if condition statement. So what is the syntax? You need to use the if, it is a keyword, and you need to use the colors, and inside this you need to use the condition for the statement. Okay, condition for the statement, and you need to give the code to execute, something like this, for the code to execute. So what is meant by this? here you need to give the condition. So based on the condition only, this code is going to be executed. Whether the given condition is going to be true, then it will be execute the code. If it is not true, if it is false, then what would happen? It will be fail. Okay, so let's see. For example, condition age is nothing but the variable we have. Age is greater than or equal to. So this is called as something called as comparison operator. So I think there are so much of operators are available in JavaScript: assignment operator, arithmetic operator, comparison operator, logical operators, and we have ternary operator. There's so much so operators are available. Then that is very basic arithmetic. If you go for arithmetic operator, it's plus, minus, modulus, division, multiplication, or called as arithmetic operation. If you go segment operation, it is same like the arithmetic operation. That little extra bit feature is that it will do the operation and assign the value to the same variable itself. And if you go for a conditional operators or comparational operators, who not conditional, comparison operator, it is going to compare something. It is going to compare the value of this with the value of what I'm going to return next to it. It compare both the value in the both hands. Okay, for example, I just age is equal to 8, greater than or equal to 8. For example, I say that, like, you can see it is a variable. I say like, if age is, it's like a normal English, you can see age is greater than equal to 18, whether the given variable has the value of greater than or equal to 18. So it can either greater than or equal to 18, anything. Okay, so then this code's going to be true. Okay, so if this condition is going to be true, and you can see this code will going to execute. So I just say console.log condition is true, and condition is true, something like this. And if I run this code, you can see condition is true will be displayed. And instead of this, if I decrease the age, like for I give the variable age is equal to 8, then what would happen? So whether 8 is greater than or equal to 18, if I check for greater than, 8 is not greater than 18, so false. 8 is equal to 18, false. So if it returns false, then this code will not execute. Okay, so if the if condition, and whether the condition is true, it will execute. If it is false, it will not execute. You can see nothing is, I'm clicking the run button, but nothing is running here. The reason because of this is a false statement. Okay, if I make this to 8, now you can see it will be run. Why? Because the age is 18 and here also 18, so it is equal to 18. It's a truthy one, right? So the conditions. Okay, so right now we do some logics. Like for example, if the age is greater than or equal to 18, if the age is greater than equal to 18, then what would happen? In my console, I just want to type something like related to this: console.log my you have a rights to vote. You have a rights to vote, right? So if I run this code, you can see you have a rights to vote. It's there. Okay, so why? Because this is true. False, then I want to run something, right? So for that, you use the else statement. So else is also like basic English you need to understand, right? So whether it should be true, or if it is not true, then this should come. This code will be executed. That is what. So if it is, the code is true, the condition is true, this statement will be executed. If the condition is false, this statement is going to execute it. For example, here I say console log you are not able, you are not eligible to vote. Okay. So if I run this code, you can see here, you can see you have a rights to vote is displayed because 18. So if I make the age to 8, if I make the age to 8 and I just run this code, you can see you are not eligible to vote. Okay, so a same code, a same variable, but depend on the value, it automatically change. Consider here we have something like 8 and 18, and this 8 and 8 get from a user. Okay, so this 8 and 8 where we get from a user, and the user will enter some value, and based on that value only this is going to be run. right? So this is our conditional statements. Okay, so the conditional statement is nothing but based on the given value, we put value into some condition and we check the condition whether it is true, then a particular code will be executed. Whether it's false, a particular code will be executed. So this is the difference between conditional statements, like how if and else work. Okay, what have two options, like an toss, like whether it is head, something has to happen. We usually do, right? Whether it is head, I can bat. Yes, you okay? So okay, okay. So wait a minute, I just tower problem, I think. Whether my voice is audible now, it's right. I think hope it's clear. Okay, so it is fine. Okay, so this is how. So what if I have a multiple condition? So I have some set of condition that is need to do. For example, I just want to go through for some of the conditions. I have not only have like this or that. So instead of that, I have more number of condition. I need to check for more number of condition. How can I do that? So you can go for something called as else statement. So if this condition is not true, then you can go for another condition. You can go for another condition like else if. You can use another keyword called else if statement, and this is this here you can see you can give another condition. So this is something called as checking multiple condition, not else if else. Okay, so just a minute. Whether my voice is audible for all or it's showing some disturbance to us, just give a comment quick. Just facing some issues. Okay, so here you can give another condition to check. For example, if age is greater than or equal to 18, you need to run this, or otherwise if your age is greater than or equal to 25. uh, okay, so if I say like this is something like this, like if the age is greater than or equal to 18, this code has to run. If the age is greater than or equal to 25, then what would happen? If I say like something like not greater than or equal to, I just say equal something like greater than less than 18, less than or equal to, less than or equal to 18, not less than 18, I just say you have no rights to, you have no rights to vote. Okay, you have no rights to vote. If the given age is less than 18, you have no rights to vote. If the given age is greater than or 18, you want to say like you have a rights to vote. You have a rights to vote. and and it is something like else is there. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I just going to create like instead of 18, I just going to make this to 25, and I just say less than. Okay, so what I mean by if the age is less than 18, it is going to say you have no rights to vote. If the age is less than or equal to 25, I just say you have rights to vote, and to apply for election, like you want to stand in the election. Okay, so that is why I'm saying like some logics, right? Okay, so if the age is less than 8, this is going to be done. and whether it is false, then what would happen? This is fallback to this ladder, and this will be checked. Okay, so after, if you want to add some other statement, or if you want to add some other condition also, you can able to do that. Hi sir, perfect. Yeah, okay, thank you. So if you want to check multiple condition, for example, if you want to check another condition, if you want to check, like for example, like I can say another condition, else if the age is less than or equal to less than, else if the age is less than or equal to greater than or equal to 35, and I can say like you can able to console.log console.log console.log, you can apply for PM election, like you can apply for PM election, something like this. So I just written some logic. Okay, so if it is 8, so if I run this code, you can see you have no rights to vote, because if this is go and check this condition, if it is true or false, yes, it is true, because 8 is less than 18. So then what would happen? You have no rights to vote is there. So instead of this, if I say 25, if I say 25, if I say 25 or something like 18 instead of 19, if I say give some teenage person name, you can see you have rights to vote and apply to for election, like this code will be executed. Now what happened? So it check for this code, and if it is true, if it is false, then what would happen? It is go for the another, it is fall back to this ladder, and it will check for this. Then here it is true, then it will be, if whether this is also false, then this is go for this, and whether this is also false, then finally the default else will become. Okay, so until this you will never get the default. Sir, how many previous video not watch? It is good to go and watch the previous video after this video, after this live completion. It is good to go and watch the before video, because it gives a basic understanding about the variables and all. Okay, so if you already know about JavaScript, then it is probably not needed, but to understand some little bit concept, you just refresh the videos, that will be great for you. Okay, fine. Okay, so this is all about conditional statement, and you can see there are so much of else if statement is there, right? So else if I want to check so much of else if, you can see there are so much of else if statement is there. Instead of this, is there any alternative option that I have? Yes, of course you have. Like for example, you can use the switch statement. Okay, so like for example, you can just go and write for the switch statement. So this is something like alternate of the else if statement. So by using the switch statement, what you can do, you can check for the multiple condition. It will be a little bit easy. Okay, so here you can give, for example, I just going to declare, instead of this, I just going to declare a color. Okay, so and I just going to say it's going to be a red. Okay, so here inside this, you can use the condition to check. I just say color, the variable you need to pass. I just say color. Okay, so inside this, you need to open this curly phrases, and here you can give what is the multiple thing you need to check. For example, you need to declare a word called case, and this is going to see if whether the color is yellow, whether the color is yellow, whether this color is yellow, then you need to give a colon and then run this code, like console.log color is yellow, like this. Okay, so what happening, this color variable is passed like a parameter here, and after this it is checked with the condition. If this is matched with this, it will run this code. If it is not matched with this, it will go for the another case. If color is red, and I just want to say like console.log color is red. Okay, so and whether this is false, then this will fall back to this. This is true, this will be displayed. Okay, and if both are true, both are false, then what would happen? Okay, so then both are false, then what would happen? You need to like you need to give a default thing. Okay, so this is going to take care of if all the condition, these all are considered as condition. If all this condition are false, then here it will be shows like this. For example, you can say console.log something like color is not defined, something like this. Okay, you can show like this. And here you want to notice another thing that is called as break keyword. Okay, so what is the use of break keyword? So the break keyword is such a thing that it is used to break a certain function. If you use a break keyword in a loop, it will break that loop. If you, why I'm using here break means, because for example, if I go with here, okay, if I go with the, if I without using the break keyword, I just refresh the page, and here you can see what have to happen. This is red, right? So it check with the this condition, it is yellow, so the color is yellow, so it will not, this is false, so this will not run. And after that, what would happen? This is go and check the next condition, this is red, so true, right? So red is equal to red, so the both the values are true, so it is true. Then this code will be executed. What color is red will be executed. And you can notice that here, and another code is also written, that is color is not defined, right? So the color is not defined also written. This is only the paused, this is only the truthy value, right? So this condition only true, so we want only this condition, but it also returns the default statement too. So what happened? So in the switch case, when you are using the switch cases, what would happen? If the condition is true, if it is true in the first case itself, or if it is true in the second case itself, then what would happen? It will automatically return all the upcoming cases and every code will be printed. Okay, so that is why you need to use this break keyword, something called as break keyword, like this. Okay, so if I use the break keyword, then what would happen? So they check for the condition case, and this is false, so this code will not run, so we don't worry about that. And if I check the condition, this case, and this is red, and this is also red, this is also red, so both are equal, so then it is true. So then it comes inside and run this code, the color is red, and after that it's go for the next line. You can see break is there. So what this break will do, it will automatically break this switch, entire switch statement, and came out from that. Okay, so if I run this, you can see now it is only display color is red. It will not go for the default value because we use the break statement. Okay, so the breaks, sorry to say, have you have simple topic into complex? So which topic? I don't think which topic you want to be a simple, more simple than that. Okay, so this is something called as switch statement. Okay, so this is very easy. Like for example, switch is nothing but when you are using if and else if statement, the same like this switch statement is nothing but it is like case. Okay, so else if, consider this as an else if. Okay, so it is check for this condition and it is go for the next condition. If it is false, it is fall back to the next condition. If it is false, then it fall back to the next condition. Okay, so this is the simplest one. Okay, so it is very easy to understand too. So the switch statement is introduced to avoid the multiple layers, right? So if you are using the else if statement, if you want to avoid that, you can use this switch statement. Okay, so that's it. 48. Okay, so I just tell me that which viewer feel like is very complicated. I just explain as smooth as possible. Okay, so just give a comment. No problem with that. I will just explain. Sir, instead of string, can we use integer? Yes, of course you can. It is possible. Like for example, if I pause something like age, okay, so and I just say 18, 12 or something like this, and here instead of this, you need to do some corrections. Like you need to give the age, like age, and you need to give the 12. And here I can say age is 12. Okay, so I just copy this code and I paste it here. I remove this. And here you can change something like age is 13. And here you want whatever you want to change. If you the data type according to the logic you need to print. Like for example, 48, something like this. and the default leave it. Okay, so if I run the same code, you can see your age is 8 is there. Okay, what would happen? So the integer is passed here, so age is 12 is passed here. It check for the first case. Yeah, 12 12, it is give a match. So what would happen? It is true, so the console dot age will be there, and it's go for the next statement. It will break that and it will come out from that. Okay, yeah, of course, yeah, that is why I'm saying switch statement. You can use that. Even if you want to use some other integers also, it is possible, you can use that. Okay, so this is all about conditional statement, and it is very easy to understand. So, okay, so if you feel anything like complex and all, I can explain it again smoothly. That is not a problem. Like if you feel like that, just give a comment, I will just do that. Okay, so then next, it is something like a switch statement. Then we go for loop. So what is meant by loops? So a loops is, I think most of you hear about the movie called Tenet, right? So loop is nothing but as a block of code that is you want to run for a repeated number of times. For example, you need to run a code for 10 times. What you need to run a code simultaneously for 10 times. You need to what you do, you just write the same code for 10 times. Like for example, I need to just say, let us consider, I write console.log and I want to log my name, something like this. Okay, if I run this code, and you can see Hari is there, right? So if I want to run this code for 10 times, what would happen? Like for example, just go something like this. And if I would run like this, then it will be written for 10 times, right? So this is what I want to do, right? So you can use the loop statement to run this. Okay, so you can use the loop statement to run this. You should, okay, okay, so I don't get it. What's you are saying? Like you are saying like, okay, so concentrate on loop. Okay, fine with that. Okay, so loop is nothing but loop is, this is like for example, you need to run a code for a repeated number of times, and you can use loop, and that is the main meaning of loop. And second thing is, you can see an array, right? So in array we have multiple items, right? We have a multiple items, and if you want to run through all these items, you can use the loop. Okay, so simply a looping is nothing but we need to run a block of code in a particular statement or particular expression or particular variable, an array or object, anything. You need to run a particular code into that for n number of times. So that is called as loops. Let's go and see. So we have, first thing, we have several type of loop. First is called as for loops. Okay, so it is called as the pretty old and traditional way. Right now we have something like for each, we have map, something, we have so much of iterators are available, like array helper methods are available. And let's, even it is traditional, we use the most. Okay, so I just going to say for. Okay, so this is the syntax for this, and inside this you need to do three parameters like initiation. So this is where you give the initiation, and you need to give the semicolon, not comma. Mostly we use, some people use it, gets an error by using the comma. And here you need to give the initiation part, like for example, where to I start. Okay, so that is what we give. And here the next thing is like something like conditions, and the next thing is, and you need to give a comma, and you need to give an, here you need to give something called as increment or decrement operator to run that loop. Okay, so this is increment and decrement operator will really helpful to avoid an infinity loop, like something called as memory leaks that will happens when you are running through the infinity loop. So then what would happen, the entire browser will be stuck and it will crash the video. Okay, so that is can be avoided. That is, we can say like memory leaks. It is a concept in JavaScript to avoid memory leaks. Okay, so here you need to give the code to execute. Okay, so what is the flow of this? For example, I just give an initiation here. Okay, so if I check the initiation, and what would happen, this condition, next it's go for the condition. If the condition is true, then what would happen, this code will be executed. After running this code, then it comes for the increment. Don't think like 1 2 and 3. It's not like that. It is 1, this is true, and this code execution is 3, and finally the increment would happen, and then it goes for the next initiation. Let I explain. For example, I need to run the console.log some name. Okay, so I need to run this name for 10 times. Okay, so that is my task. I want to run this name for 10 times. That is my task. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say let something like x is equal to 0. Okay, what I did, I just declare a variable and I say let x is equal to 0. Okay, so I create a variable and I say let x is equal to 0, and here I just going to say this is a condition part, and what I'm going to say x is less than 10. Okay, so what is going to be say, if x is less than 10, then this code will be executed. So what is the value of x? The value of x is 0, right? The value of x is 0, and it's go for the next, and 0 is less than 10 or not? 0 is less than 10, so it is true, right? Then what would happen, this code will be executed, and after completing this code, what would happen, it is come for the third parameter, something called as increment or decrement. So right now I want to increment this because I want this statement to end, right? So what I want to, if I increase the statement, then only after the ninth statement it will be gives an end. Otherwise what would happen, it will be true for anyhow, right? So then what would happen, this loop will go on, run, and it will cause us the memory leak, and it will cause us the main reason for the memory leaks, and it will stacks our browsers. Okay, so that is happen. Okay, so what this, I just going to say give an increment operator, I just going to say x plus plus. Okay, let I explain how it work after refreshing this page. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. What happened? Let I explain. So I declare an initiation here, like I just say x is equal to 0. And after I declaring this, here it comes 0 is less than 10. So if it is less than 10, yes, it is true. Then what would, if it is the condition is true, then this code will be executed. So what happened? This code, this is printed in my console. And after that, what happened? If I incremented x plus plus, and what is meant by x plus plus? X plus plus is nothing but, sorry for this. Okay, x plus plus is nothing for that. It will increase us a value by 1. So right now we have 0. It will increase us the value by 1. It is, just a minute. Sorry for the disturbance. Okay, so once you, if it is increases x plus plus, then what would happen? It will increases to 1. Okay, x right now the value of x is 1. So 1 is less than 10. Yes, it is also less than 10. Then it will come here x plus plus, and after completing this, it will go for 2. And likewise, it is keeps on increment, and when it reaches 9, it will true, and it will execute the code. That is the last code. And after that, you can see x plus plus is there. Now what happened, the x values goes for 10. So 10 is less than 10. No, it is false. So it is false. Then what would happen, this code will be not execute, the loop will be break, right? Okay, sir, what is x plus plus? So x plus plus is nothing but, for example, leave this. Okay, so it is called as, it is also an operator, like you are working with plus, it's mean it will increases a value by 1. Yeah, of course, that is actually okay. So if you are working with the operator like plus, minus, something like that, so that is called as, it is called as increment and decrement operator. If I say let x is equal to 2, okay, so here I just say console.log x. Okay, if I run this, you can say the 2 will be printed, right? So now what I'm going to do, I just say another console.log and x plus plus. So if I add the plus plus, it's nothing but it increments the value by 1. If I run this, it will not happen because it is increment post increment. Okay, so what would happen after this calling, then it will be run. For example, if you call the same thing after here, now you can see this. Here you can see it is 3. Okay, what would happen means there is something, a logic is there, a pre increment and post increment. So here I assign the value. So first what happened means, if I say console.log x, then what would happen? The value of x will be displayed. And again, I call the console.log x plus plus. Now, some people thinking like it will display 3, but it won't. So what would happen means, it will display 2 only after it enters the code. You can see after it displays the code. If I refresh it, you can see it clearly. You can see 2 to 3 will be there. So after it will display the code 2, then what would happen? This plus plus increment the value. So now it is display the value 2, and it is go and increment the value by 1. So now the value for x is 3. When I call now, instead of x plus plus, I simply called x. You can see it is 3, 2 to 3. Okay, so this is called as, if you put the plus plus backside, it is called as post increment. Okay, so if you put the plus plus front side, this is called as pre-increment. So here what happens, it will true and it will increment first. Instead of showing the answer first, it will increment first. So 3 would come. So 2, 3 will be come. You can see 2, 3, 3. So this is the difference between post increment and pre-increment. So post increment is nothing. It will display the exact value of the variable and it increments it. Later it increments it. And pre-increment is nothing but first it increment the value and then it goes for the and it sends the answer to the output. Okay, so that is called as pre-increment and post-increment. The same like for decrement. When you use minus minus for the backside of a variable, it is called as post decrement, and if you use the minus minus in the front side, it is called as pre-decrement. Okay, so you can use to reduce a value by 1. That's it. Okay, so this is called as loops. Okay, so right now we see about the for loop, right? So right now we have discussed about this for loop. Now we're going to see about some of the important concepts, like for example, right now I'm just going to say about some of the important concepts, like how to use this loop in a reference variable. Okay, so how can I use that? For example, how to use the for loop in an array. For example, I have something like what we can say. Let me create an array. I just say const numbers. Instead of numbers, we just go for age is equal to, and here I just create a like 23, 45, 67, like this. Anyhow, okay, so I just created an array that has some numbers. Okay, right now what I want to do, I just want to loop, I want to print. So how we access this? We access this, for example, we can say console.log by using their indexes, by using ages, square bracket, and we give the value 0. And if I run this, I just refresh the page. If I see, you can see if I run this, it will display 23 because accessing the variable in 0, right? So indexes in 0, it will display the first value. If I access in the first one, it will give this value. If I give 2, this will give this value. Okay, so if I want to access this entire value, consider if I have an arrays that has like 1000 list, I want to access everything. How can I do that? Okay, so by using you simply go and type every time console.log age 1 age 2, like that. It is so difficult, right? So for that you can use the loop to access that. For example, let I give an example how to access everything, how to access every items to display in our console. Okay, let me see that. I just refresh it. Nothing is there right now, so I just go and loop through it. Okay, so instead of removing, we just remove this, and right now we need another thing. So I just go, before that I just go say console.log and I say ages. Okay, so after I just run this and I just go for the inspect and go for my console. Here you can see our array is there, and here you can see a property is there, length is equal to 5. So this is says it is not like indexes. You can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is indexes, and this is the count of the item. So this is some default property that we have in the array. So it says the count of that array. Okay, so here only thing you need to notice, indexes in an array is always less than that of the length, less than by one value. Okay, it is, you can see it is 5, it is 4, if it is 10, it is 9. Okay, so like that only, it is always less than one value. Why? Because the indexes starts from 0, but the count start from 1. It just simply count 1 2 3 4 5, so total 5 values is there, like that. But in an array 0 1 2 3 4, it is an indexes. Okay, so this is indexes and this is length. So the only statement you need to remind here is the length is always less than 1 times then the indexes. Okay, so that is, sorry, length is always greater than the index is always less than 1 time. Okay, so right now what I'm going to do, I just going to, by using this concept, I just going to loop through this array. So how can I do that? For example, I created a variable that is called x is equal to 0, something like this. I just refresh it. You can see only our array is there. Right now I want to loop through it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, just comment this and let x is equal to 0 and x is less than 10. Instead of giving some hard numbers, what I'm going to do, I just going to say ages. So ages is nothing but the array we are having. Okay, ages dot, so dot is when we are using an object, right? So for accessing a property, so right now we see a property called length, right? Length. So this is age dot length is nothing but, if I say age dot length, here you can see the length of the variable will be displayed. You can see 5, right? So here it will comes like 5. Okay, so if I add something, if I add manually something, like for example, if I add 90, again 90, if I run this, you can see it manually changes to 60. Okay, I don't want to enter every time. Okay, it automatically takes up the value. So then what I want to do, I want to display every array items here. Okay, so for that, I just say console.log. Okay, so to fetch an array item, what you need to do, you need to call the array first. So age, sorry, here ages, not here, ages, and you need to use the square bracket, and inside this you need to give the indexes, right? So here you can see x's have the 0th index, the value index, and what would happen, it will keeps incrementing when we use this variable. So we can use this x as an index to increase this. Then what happened, this will go for 0 first and it will access the variable and will display here, and after increase the value of x is equal to 1, then if I put x is here, the value becomes 1, and now it is go for the index 1 and that it will be accessed and display here. So what I'm going to do, I just say x. Okay, so here I just going to do another thing, like the value of array is, something like this, and I just put a plus operator like this. Okay, so right now after this, I just run this. Here you can see the value of array is 23, the value of array is 45, the value of array is 67, the value of array is 89, the value of array is 90, the value of array is 19. So what happened? Let us see. Let x is equal to 0. We declare a variable and we have x is less than ages. So what is mean by x is less than ages? So ages dot length is nothing but the number of counts we have. So right now we have like something like 6. You can see 6 count is there. So it is 6. So x is less than 6. 0 is less than 6. Yes, true. Then this code will be executed. Console.log. The value of array is ages. Ages is nothing but here the array, and the square bracket is used to access the index of that and access the value of that. And here inside this I give x. So right now what is the value of x? 0 is the value of x. When I put the value of x is equal to 0, so age 0. Age, if I call something like ages like 0, then what would come? It would come the first value, right? Because we are accessing based on their indexes. So 23 will be printed. So then what happened? X value is incremented to x plus plus. So now the value is incremented to x is equal to 1. So now if I check for the condition, 1 is less than 6. Yes, 1 is less than 6. Then it's go for the console.log. The value of array is less and ages is there. If there is a 1, and here you can see it comes for the 45. Likewise, it will be goes on, and you can see when it reaches the value 6 and it will check for the condition 6 is not less than 6, then what would happen? This loop will be break out. Okay, so it will not execute. So because we have, how many condition we are have, how many elements, how many items we are have, until that we can able to fetch that. Okay, so please show me where and how we can use all those things in a practical project. So tomorrow is going to be the practical project where you can see how we use these things, and we will be show these things. Okay, so tomorrow is going to be a practical thing. Okay, so you can't see it in individual, you only able to use the JavaScript with the HTML for front end and web. Yeah, okay, so I think you give an answer. Some from yeah, it is a good example. For example, if an example, if you add an item in a cart, okay, so the process began is done by this. For example, every time you are loading a Facebook or Instagram reels, it will comes again and again. So how it comes? So by using this, a loop is created, an event is created, and by using this we can able to access this. So this loop is very helpful, and you can access this. So for example, what I can say, you can create something like, when you see some of the other loops, you will get an idea that how these things works. Okay, so we have some other loops that is called as while loop, and we have something. So for array, I just, while loop is there and do while loop is there, something different between while and do while loop. So while loop is little bit syntactic sugar compared to the for loop. Do while loop is entirely different. Okay, so I will give a toss that you will just go and watch anything, free resources available, that will really helpful for while and do while. Okay, so right now I'm focusing on this because I'm focusing on the tomorrow's projects. Okay, so we're going to do tomorrow project. Hope you will get that. Okay, so based on this I will teaching. Okay, so what I'm going to do, there is an easy way of doing this. So what is the easy way means, you can use the array iterators or array helper method, that is called as for each method. So for each method is something like an iterator that makes very easy our work. For example, uh, right, first I write down the code, and after that I just explain it. Okay, so I just explain with my PPT. Okay, just give a minute. Just go for my folder. Something called as for each. So actually I put, and here you can see this is something like for each. So what is mean by for each means, here you can see this is the post I have returned in my LinkedIn. Okay, so this don't worry, I'm searching for some of the, he is going and taking some others. So no, it is my post I put. Okay, so I'm doing this. Okay, so that is why. So I just say I created a variable that is an array. So const fruit is equal to mango, orange, apple, like this. Okay, so I just created a fruit array. Okay, so you can consider and fruit array is there, and it is in 0th index, first index, and second index. And when I use the fruits dot for each, okay, so fruits is nothing but the array. Here you can see the array is there, right? So the same array we have fetched, and if I put the dot operator, then what is the dot operator? This is the syntax for writing the for each loop. Okay, so I just explain the syntax first. Okay, so what is the syntax for writing this means, you need to call the array, and you need to put a dot, and you need to use the for each method, and inside this you need to give a function. You need to give a function. You need to give a function. And what would happen, this function is go and run on the array elements. So here you can see I just give an array of ages. If I give the array of ages, then what would happen, a particular function I'm going to write here, that is going to execute in top of each and every element. So it is automatically runs on each and every element, and we don't want to tell like something like in for loop where to start and where to end and increment like this. We don't want to tell that. So the for each is smart enough to go and run on each array element, and it will run a particular function that we are giving inside, and it will display that. For example, I'm going to give a function here. Okay, so I just going to say like something like item, a parameter that is going to be, and here I just say console.log item. So what happens means an array. So what is this? Age is an array. So I give and I use the for each. So what would happen? Whatever I'm giving inside the function. So whatever the function code I'm giving inside, and this for each, what it do means, it takes the entire function and it go and run on first this value. Okay, So this value is now come for the array items. Here it comes for the parameter, and it is paused and it is logged here. And after that, it is automatically go for the next item and go for next and go for next and go for next and go for next. Okay, so you can see that if I run this, you can see 23, 45, 8, 67, 89, 90, 90. So what happened? This is something like what exactly the for loop do, but you can see how simple it is. So we don't want to worry about any spelling errors we would make. We don't want to give any some big syntax, right? So the for each loops or ES6 concepts. So even though it comes in ES5, it is also ES6 concepts. So we can consider. So the for each loop, there are so much of things is there, like map method, filter method. These are something like us an array helper methods, and these will give and sorry, I can get it, please come again. Oh, I think you asked for each, right? So yeah, right now I just go for my LinkedIn. I just explain it. Just a minute. I just explain the for each. Okay, so this is for map, this is for each. Yeah, okay. So here I will explain, right? For example, here I have a const fruits, mango, orange, and apple. Okay, so this is an constant. Okay, so consider this is an array. Okay, if I want to iterate through this array, if I want to access this array element, what I want to do in traditional way, I need to use the for loop, and I say let I is equal to 0, I is less than fruits dot length, and it will take the length of the element. And if I want to give the I plus plus, and everything will be run repeatedly, and they will display mango, orange, and apple in the output, right? So this is something like pretty old, so that's why I give an into mock. Okay, so it is not in use, we are using. So right now we have something called as for each. So what this for each is doing, you can see const fruits is equal to mango, fruits, orange, and apple, the same thing I did. So what I'm doing, fruits dot for each. So what is this fruits? Fruit is nothing but the array. So it is a syntax. You need to call the array first, and you need to use the method called for each. And inside this, you need to give a function. So here I use the arrow function, and you can give a normal function too. Okay. So what happens means, this for each, it takes the entire function and it run on each items. First it's go and run on this mango. So if it takes this item and it will pass through the parameter, and if I say console.log fruits, this mango will be passed in the console. And after that, it automatically jump for the next item, and it will go for, now the fruits parameter is orange, and next is come for the orange will be displayed. Okay, so likewise it will be displayed. And why we are using for each loop? In for loop, the possibility of getting error is high. That is what I say. More syntax, more detailing work is there, and for helper method is used to avoid the manual error happening, and it is very syntactic sugar. And if you want to know how this is working, you can see how for each is working. So you can see something like this. I was showed already, and you can see this is an array and this is an array item. Consider this is apple, orange, and mango. Okay, you can see array items is nothing but mango, orange, and apple. Okay, so what happens mean, when I use iterator function is nothing but, here you can see a console.log fruit, right? A fruit arrow function, console.log fruit is there. This is something called as iterator function. Okay, this is something called as iterator function, and this function will run on each and everything. Okay, you can see first the mango is passed through the iterator function as an argument. Then it will do some code by using that argument and display the output. And after that, what happened? It automatically go for the next item, and it's do the same process, and it will output the same action. And goes for the third item, it will do the same action. You can see how it is works. You can see this is something called as array, and this entire thing, fruit console.log fruit, is something called as iterator function. Here I used arrow function syntax. If you want to use the normal function, you can use it, like giving the function keyword and something what I have written in JSPin, right? Same like you can use it. And console.log is something, and this fruit is nothing but what is the output is coming. Like you can see it is the normal function by using normal function. So fruit, I take the fruits array for each, and function item. So right now mango is the first item. It go inside this parameter and it will do the code and it will display the answer. And next automatically bananas go for the first item and it will go and it will answer it. So likewise you can use either normal function and you can use an iterator too. So whenever you are using an iterator, and you can separate the function too, like this you can separate. For example, you can declare the function out from the loop and you can just call the function. So in normal case, if I call the function, I would use the parenthesis, but when it is an iterator, we don't do that. Okay, so that is the only thing you need to note here. So for each, for loop, map method, filter method, that's everything. Why function is passed in for each? Because we need to do some actions, right? So it is like, for example, why function is passed in for each means you need to understand the working concept. I already said, like, an item, every item is, by if I use a for each loop, every item is fetched. Okay, based on that item only I need to do some action, right? So if I get some item, I need to pass through some code. So that is the only option, passing the value as an argument to another parameter. So where the argument and parameter will come? Functions. So if I have a function, then what I can do? I can pass the upcoming value in an array as an argument, and I will do anything whatever I want, because inside function I can able to do that. Okay, why I need function? Because function is the one which get an argument in what? In something like we can call as like parameters, right? We can get it. Okay, in order to print, we can supposed to pause the function. Not only to print, you need to do some certain actions. Like for example, if you want to concatenate, for example, here I just console.log, right? So if I want to do something like by using this item, if I want to do something, you can anything. So whatever normal you are doing function, that's you can do. What is mean by function? Function is doing some actions, right? So whatever you want to do, you can pause it, right? So that is how that's all about this. Okay, so if you pause the function, it will do some activities, that's it. Okay, if you pause the function, it will do some activities. And for each loop, something that has three things as a parameter, like you can use a function, and you can use the indexes too. Second thing is like something like indexes. If you want the indexes, for example, I just give I and give something like I. Okay, if I give something like I and I run this, you can see, like, I just refresh it. You can see where is the 6 is coming from. Okay, so 23 is the first value and the index of this is 0, and 45 is the first value, the index of this is 0. So this is something like this first parameter is value of that value that coming from the array, and the second parameter is nothing but the indexes. If you want to fetch the indexes, you can use this. Okay, so this is the index, and we have another parameter, that is the array. If I do something list, it will define which array I'm fetching. Okay, so if I something do like this, you can see, I just refresh it. Okay, so you can pass three parameters. Like for example, 23 is the value. So the item is nothing but the 23, and the second is I. So I is nothing but the index. It will give the index of the thing. And finally, you have an entire array, right? So it is showing the entire array. So there are three things is there. So three parameters. You can pass these parameters. You can get the arguments. You can get the value. You can get the index, and you can also pass the an entire array. If you want, you can pass that. Okay, so that is also even possible. Okay, so just give a minute, I will just give you an attendance form to fill. So tomorrow we cover about the DOM operations. That is why we are learning JavaScript and all. Okay, so tomorrow let me see whether we creating a normal form or we going to create a mini Facebook, right? So if I say Facebook, don't think about the HTML and CSS part. I just going to tell about how the logic behind this. Okay, so what are the logic behind the Facebook? So just give a comment whether you want an Facebook logic of Facebook recreation you want, or you need an form, how to handle manipulate something in a form that's you want. Okay, if you give that, it will be hope. I based on that I will teach that. Okay, so hello sir, hello. If you have any doubts also, you can ask. And tomorrow I just going to use the dump operation. There we see about some mini project. If you want the logic behind Facebook, or if you want a normal form handling, that is fine. Mini Facebook, right? So I just explain about how the mini Facebook will be work, and you can understand, wow, so this is the simple functionality that is behind that. So because all the functionality we need, we will already have that, having callback functions. So in this section we don't have callback functions and life cycles and all. We here it's for only for beginner friendly. Okay, so asynchronous JavaScript, we have it in advanced JavaScript, which I took in the last month. Okay, you can see the last month, the second week, I think, right? So I took the masters advanced to master JS. In that I will took what is callback, what is async and await, what is promises, and even some other things like related to asynchronous JavaScript I taken. If you want that, you can check out in our channel too. Okay, so hope that you will get an advanced JavaScript very soon, but not hope, I think not this month, because the next week is going to be a React for beginners, and the other week, and after that week I just going to take 5 days 5 React JS project. Okay, so yeah, that's I avoid everything will be cover, everything is already covered. Okay, so in another workshop, you can check it in our YouTube channel. Go for the last month second week. Okay, I think hope second week, yeah, second week advanced to mastery. So this is for very beginners, like to understand the JavaScript programming, this is for. And if you want to like asynchronous JavaScript and all, you can do that. And I'm doing like in LinkedIn also, I'm posting those kinds of stuffs. If you want and detailed explanation like in picture format, you yes, is there any recursion is nothing in JS, it is have recursion something like that. We can say like a concept recursion is not there, but recursion we can, so a function is calling the same function, that is called as recursion, right? We can, but it have a separate topic on recursion. Like we use Java data structure and algorithm. Mostly we go with C++ and Java, right? So because of we can cover all the data structures and algorithm, we can move on to that, right? Which playlist? Last month second week. So go for the last month video second week. So there is a named like advanced to master. Okay, advanced to master JavaScript, advanced to master 5 days workshop, where I covered promises, async await, and callbacks, and something even year 6 concept like these arrays, for each method, map method, and some other things like spread operator, destructurings. So much of things I have covered, which all are required to learn React. I just covered. Okay, hope that today's time's up. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can ask. I just give 1 more minute and we will move on. We will end the live. Okay, so tomorrow we will see the mini Facebook, mini little bit logic behind this mini Facebook, and we will do some DOM operations too. Okay, so we will cover the DOM operation. I'm not going to cover entire DOM operation because it doesn't, I'm not able to cover within 1 hour. Okay, so we will see it in tomorrow. Okay, bye. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in here. Okay guys, bye.